If you're watching this video, it probably means that at some point in the last 4 months, or maybe the last 4 hours, you developed an insatiable need to learn more about the Korean band BTS. There are a lot of videos online introducing you to the members. Some of those are good and many are bad, and I'll link you to something decent below to watch if you haven't seen a good one yet. But this video is not an introduction to the members. It's an introduction to the band, to the brand, and most importantly, to the fans. As a baby ARMY, you'll hear a lot of terms and references being thrown about. This guide is intended to give you the appropriate primer to understand what people are talking about and prepare you to do the rest of the research on your own. Discography. Let's start with the music. BTS's musical history is often referred to by eras, though you will see some slight variation in how eras are defined. Here's a list of BTS's releases and what era I generally see them in. It's hard to give you a straightforward answer to the question, how many albums has BTS released? Because as you can see, there are a lot of different album types. They've had mini albums, studio albums, Japanese albums, compilation albums, and some of these have a lot of track overlap with each other and some have very little. I've also included rappers' mixtapes in this list, though no one would ever refer to Mono as being part of the Love Yourself era. It just came out during that time. For the first several eras, BTS albums only had songs with the full group or songs featuring just the rap line or the vocal line, with a few exceptions for things like album intros. However, starting with Wings, BTS began including solo tracks for each member, so now each member has several songs that they've recorded by themselves and perform solo during concerts. Separate from regular albums and even the mixtapes put out by the rappers, members will also occasionally release solo, duet, or unit tracks exclusively online. This is where we get songs like Promise, Winter Bear, 4 O'Clock, and my personal favorite, Dang. Link below for an explainer video on why Dang is the most brilliant song ever. While a full listen through of BTS's entire discography is an admirable and recommended pastime, if you'd like an abridged version, here's a list of all their singles, and I'll link a music video playlist below for the truly dedicated. Performance. BTS has had 6 concert tours, each generally corresponding to a different era, and each era bigger than the last. The Red Bullet Tour and Wake Up Open Your Eyes Japan Tour, the Most Beautiful Moment in Life on Stage Tour, the Wings Tour, the Love Yourself Tour, and the Map of the Soul Tour that was set to start in April of 2020 and had to postpone all shows due to the pandemic. There was also a special one-off fan concert they will do every so often called Muster, that includes fun things like the members switching roles, singing unofficial songs, or dancing new choreography. Once BTS got big, they started to perform on American variety shows, including The Tonight Show, Saturday Night Live, The Late Late Show, and Ellen. They've also done a few Korean shows you might have seen clips of, such as After School Club and RM's appearances on Problematic Men. But they started where all idols start, on the weekly Korean music shows. These shows typically include voting and declare winners, with a large and devoted fan base being crucial to a group snagging the #1 spot each week. Some show names you might see pop up include Music Bank, Show Music Core, and Mnet Countdown. This is where we get a lot of early looks at new choreography, and the performances are a mix of pre-recorded and live for an audience. They will also sometimes have the week's winner do an encore performance at the end of the show, where they perform their song in some fun or goofy way. So if you ever see footage of BTS doing their song surrounded by confetti, acting weird, and really half-assing it, it's probably an encore performance after winning a music show. BTS has attended, performed, and won at the American Music Awards and Billboard Music Awards, presented an award at the Grammys, and performed on the Grammy stage as part of a montage of Old Town Road remixes. The fact that their first Grammy stage performance was as backup to another act didn't go over well with ARMY, but we're happy that at least they got to be up there, and I'm personally thankful for the absolutely amazing styling choices. Like, apparently RM can just look like this at any time, and they've been holding out on us for years. Yet nothing can compare to their presence at the Asian award shows. There's no direct equivalent to the Grammys for Korean acts, but some of the more notable shows are the Golden Disc Awards, the Mnet Asian Music Awards, known as MAMA, and the Melon Music Awards, often abbreviated as MMA. The prestige at these shows is less about which show you win at, and more about what award you win. There are main prizes, known as Bansongs, and grand prizes, known as Daesongs. Day songs are things like Album of the Year and Artist of the Year. Obviously, it was a huge deal the first time BTS won a day song, but they've grown so big that they now have several instances of sweeping the day songs, winning every top prize at a given award show. They're also given huge amounts of performance time at these shows, basically turning the awards into their own personal BTS concerts. In addition to the officially produced footage of all their live performances, we get thousands and thousands of fan cams. These will often focus on a single member, allowing you to watch their entire performance without interruption. Fancams are so popular that even the official programs will film and release clips with a Jimin focus or Jungkook focus, as though they're a fan cam. I'll link a couple particularly well-known fan cams below. While fan cams might come from ordinary fans who lucked into a good spot and happen to own a decent camera, many come from highly dedicated individuals who run fan sites and invest a huge amount of time, energy, and especially money into being able to film and photograph the boys. At its best, this is a gift to the fandom because it allows for some truly amazing footage and images. At its worst, you have fans that turn into stalkers, or in Korean, sasaengs. They can get entitled and angry and even violent. All K-pop idols have to deal with this, though the labels and the idols almost never acknowledge it. As a warning, researching sasaengs and their behavior is a really great way to ruin your week. Fan interaction. There are a number of ways the band members have been able to interact directly with their fans over the years, starting with the most direct, which is fan sign events. Fans get to spend a few seconds with each member, getting their autographs and giving them gifts. However, these aren't really an option for the vast majority of ARMY for many reasons, not the least of which is you have to go to Korea to attend one at all and speak Korean to get much out of it. So let's move on to the much more accessible and disastrous celebrity interaction space, Twitter, where all 7 members jointly share the same account. They manage this account themselves, posting selfies and videos. However, they, probably wisely, never really respond directly to anything on Twitter. They just post their own tweets and very occasionally retweet something they want to promote, such as a collaboration they did with another artist. To get a response from BTS, you'll want to head over to Weverse, a free site designed specifically to let idols interact with fans. Some members are way more active there than others, and you never know what random fan message they'll choose to respond to. Plus, there was that one time that Jin, RM, and J-Hope all got on Weverse at once and crashed their own app. We also owe a special thanks to Weverse for the time RM, whose real name is Namjoon, was trying to console a fan about her driving by declaring himself to be the worst driver in the world. But the way he chose to phrase it in English was, "Lol, no worries, at least this planet has Namjoon." May this sentiment be a light to you in dark places, when all other lights go out. Another primary form of fan interaction comes from the members' live streams. These have traditionally all been done on the free website VLive, but in 2020 they began experimenting with having them on YouTube as well. Both platforms allow viewers to comment, and depending on who is doing the live and what they're doing, they might read and respond directly to fan comments during the stream. For example, if it's just Jimin in his hotel room while he's on tour, he's likely to spend most of the stream interacting with fans. If it's Suga painting by himself, not so much. The recordings of these old live streams are still available on VLive and YouTube with English subtitles. A few notable lives worth checking out are: Jimin once stole Jin's dinner to his own hotel room in LA, and Jin tried to make the case that alcohol disinfects your throat when you're sick. Here's one of RM accidentally revealing a BT21 product before it was released, followed by my all-time favorite RM and Jimin moment.
이 여행을 올 초 3월, 4월부터 놀래요. 저 박지민이지. 지민이에겐 많은 관심과 사랑이 필요합니다.
And of course, the height of BTS VLive culture, that time Jungkook drank a bottle of wine and spent 4 straight minutes recounting his love of pork. Company content. In addition to what the members do themselves, Big Hit keeps a steady stream of BTS content, starting with Run BTS. Run BTS is an official and mostly weekly variety show that started in 2015 and is broadcast free on VLive. It usually involves the members playing games, doing crafts, or completing challenges. There are often winners and losers, which means rewards and punishments. At its best, I would describe Run BTS as a beautiful, chaotic, hot mess where 7 best friends chase each other through an abandoned museum at night, lying and cheating their way to the finish. The winner gets a gift card to a mall. The loser has to climb a mountain at dawn. Some highlights are when they had to do skits being cops and criminals in a police station, but they are impressively bad at it, and by the end, they all agree how amazing real actors are. The infamous cluster that is them at an amusement park at 4 a.m., having to solve a puzzle room in English while running from zombie actors. They end up completely failing at it and then playing freeze tag, and my absolute favorite part is near the end when Jim starts mildly hitting on one of the girl zombies.
Good. Yeah, it's Jim's sticker. It's me. Yeah, worldwide dancer. Yeah, good.
Gotta maintain that worldwide handsome brand. And my personal favorite, the best run episode of them all, the time they got to hear a children's song about tomatoes exactly once before taking a 30-minute nap, and then they had to all remember the words, and Jimin and Jungkook just couldn't even.
첫 버전입니다. 5, 6, 7, 8.
빨간 옷을 입고 새콤달콤 향기 풍기는 멋쟁이 토마토
갑니다. 5, 6, 7, 8. 첫 버전이죠. 안 주세요, 일단 안 주세요.
나는야 춤을 출 거야.
왜요? 왜 나한테 안 주세요? 난 저밖에 없는데.
자, 지금 우리 팀 2명이 기다려요.
5, 6, 7, 8. 템포 따라가세요. 아이, 졌어. 아, 망했어.
빨간 옷을 입고.
Another primary source of BTS content is Bangtan bombs, which are released on the official YouTube channel and contain mostly behind-the-scenes content. These drop without warning and are of any length and any topic. I'm serious. They can be as simple and short as 30 seconds of Jungkook wanting to eat a donut, or as long and complicated as their entire experience performing and winning at the Billboard Music Awards. The top 6 Bangtan bombs of all time are all choreographed videos with some silly element, most of them being the Halloween videos where all the boys are in costume, including, top of the list with nearly 4 times the number of views as the runner-up, the 2017 Halloween video where they do rock, paper, scissors to determine who has to be Snow White, even though there are literally 7 of them and there were supposed to be 7 dwarves. My favorite part of this video is how V somehow manages to be emotionally ready for the loss the entire time. It's like he knows it's coming. It's hard to pick just a few bombs or episodes to recommend because they go through phases of popularity. I personally love the 30-minute episode of their first visit to the Grammys, mostly because of this scene where all the boys are trying to prepare and memorize their English answers to expected interview questions. And we get this beautiful moment when RM asks Jimin what he's prepared.
씨, 뭘 준비하셨습니까?
제 마음가짐?
그리고
그 정도? 뭐 그럼 그렇게 아무런 준비가 없는 아이가 아닙니다.
보여주십시오. 그러면 뭘 준비하셨나요?
나중에 놀리지 마십시오.
놀리지 말라고?
놀리지도 말고요.
예.
There's the one where everyone pretended to be mean to Jungkook on his birthday, which makes every ARMY angry and sad, but apparently was super funny to everyone involved, including Jungkook. There's the one where Jimin and V are messing with J-Hope that somehow turns into Jimin on his knees in submission. And the infamous Blood, Sweat, and Tears reaction video where Jimin claims his exposed shoulder was an accident.
연습 많이 했을 텐데요.
알았어. 실수로 된 거예요.
안 실수일까요?
Sure, Jimin. It was an accident. Next, there's Summer Package, which began on the first anniversary as a simple vlog and photo book, and expanded to having them travel to beautiful places and do fun activities, including adventures in Malaysia, Dubai, Philippines, Saipan, and South Korea. In 2019, they announced they were done doing summer packages, and then immediately went to a winter package in Finland in 2020. The season packages are very planned and produced, with official photo shoots and company-selected activities. It's all geared toward the eventual product that the fans can buy, with photo cards, a DVD, etc. There's a similar product called Memories that they release each year, which also has a photo book and DVD, and contains some behind-the-scenes content. If you want something a little less structured and polished, well, there's Bon Voyage. Bon Voyage is BTS's travel reality show, the first 4 seasons taking them to Europe, Hawaii, Malta, and New Zealand. The producers try to be a bit more hands-off during Bon Voyage, having the boys rent their own cars, order their own food, lose their own passports, and abandon their own J-Hope at a New Zealand gas station.
진심 갔다고? 진짜 갔어요? 나 어떻게 해요?
In the very early days, BTS had a short reality TV series called American Hustle Life, where they had to go through a series of challenges given by their hip-hop tutors, Coolio and Warren G. American Hustle Life is 8 episodes long and involves some serious cringe, but it's also where Jimin got the nickname Chim Chim, and where we got this adorable moment of Jungkook trying to pitch their concert to strangers in English.
No money. No money? Yeah. Free.
The final source of official behind-the-scenes footage you might see of BTS is in their documentary films and accompanying TV series, Burn the Stage and Bring the Soul. The BTS documentary films get theatrical releases and tend to break records when they do. Buying a ticket to Bring the Soul was actually the first money I ever spent on BTS, and the first time I got to meet a fellow ARMY out in the real world. Other worlds. I suppose we should probably talk about how the oldest member of BTS is a time traveler. Among the more surprising things you'll find down the BTS rabbit hole is that they have their own alternate universe, known as the Bangtan universe, or BU. Starting back in 2015 with the music video for I Need You, the original content was pretty cryptic, showing bits and pieces of what looked like tragic alternate lives for each of the members. RM in a dead-end job, J-Hope struggling with pills, V drowning. During the Wings era, we saw the stories develop further through a series of short films, and later there would be posters, short stories, and a fake flower shop that existed only online. As hints were dropped over the years, fans developed and debated their theories, with final confirmation coming from the 2019 webtoon Save Me. In this graphic novel, available for free online, we see the story of Jin, who finds out that all his childhood friends have met tragic ends as adults. Fortunately, he's been given the chance to fix it all by going back in time. He tries again and again, failing again and again, in the world's longest, saddest Groundhog Day. There's a lot of content out there for the BU if you want to dive deep, and the story hasn't fully been resolved, but I highly recommend at least watching the music videos for I Need You and Run, and the 7 Wings short films, and then reading the whole webtoon. All of that together shouldn't take longer than an afternoon, and it's really worth it. Not only because it's a beautiful story, but because you'll find out why the sight of J-Hope with a Snickers bar makes ARMY want to burst into tears. For a much cheerier alternate universe, head over to BT21, where somehow this group of punk-ass teenagers ended up with their own line of plushies. Starting in September of 2017, BTS worked with Line Friends creators to develop 8 original characters, inspired by the BTS members and created using their direct input. Each member has a character that corresponds with them, as well as one for ARMY. There is a lot of BT21 merchandise out there, as well as cartoons released online that tell the characters' stories. After BT21 was released, it became a common practice on Run BTS episodes for the loser to wear the winner's character suit on the following episode, which is why there are so many delightful images of, well, this. ARMY behavior. Let's start with the proper grammatical use of the word ARMY. Technically, ARMY is an acronym, which stands for Adorable Representative MC for Youth, so you understand why we basically never acknowledge that it stands for anything at all.
Your fans are called ARMY. What does ARMY stand for?
In Korean, our name means Bulletproof Boy Scouts, so it stands for BTS. And so, like, we got these ARMY, like, you know, right beside us, so
yes,
that's
you
what
certainly do have an ARMY.
You will occasionally see ARMY spelled with periods to indicate the acronym, but more often it's one word in either all caps or all lowercase. It also follows a lot of Korean grammar ideas that aren't common in English, like how the word army is both singular and plural, but armies is also acceptable. Because Korean doesn't have the articles a, an, or the, army is never used with the and only used with an when necessary for clarity. You occasionally will hear or see BTS Army, but you should avoid phrases like the BTS Army or BTS's Army or BTS and their army, unless you're a clueless American broadcaster who just doesn't know any better. There's a case to be made that for as big and powerful and influential as BTS is, their fan base is even more so. I'm not sure at what point ARMY became the beautiful monster that it is, but people fear it, and for good reason. Obviously, ARMY is not a single monolith, but a hugely diverse group of people with their own passions and motivations. But if I were to explain the overall temperament of BTS ARMY, I would compare them to the sharks in Finding Nemo. There's the potential for real danger, for real harm, and they know that. So they work extra hard to keep themselves in check, until they smell blood in the water. Just remember, locals are friends, not food. While ARMY infighting is certainly a thing, they also look after their own, sharing content as I mentioned, but always being quick to help people find things and to answer the questions of baby ARMY who are new to the fandom. ARMY is also the only reason we have English subtitles on non-paid content prior to 2020, when Big Hit finally started adding official subtitles. Until then, we were at the mercy of the sometimes amazing and sometimes terrible fan translations. You should know that fake subtitles also exist, usually starting as jokes but then getting spread around as real by mistake. I'll link my absolute favorite joke subtitle video below, which is so well done in terms of matching both the personalities of each member but also the awkward way Korean translates to English, that if I didn't know the subject matter was something they'd never discuss publicly, I might think it was real. And that's the thing. Eventually, fake subs are easy to spot because you know the boys and the company well enough to know what kind of content they would and would not allow into the world. A behavior that is common in K-pop in general is shipping members, and ARMY is no exception. Basically, every combination of the 7 members has a ship name, though these are often used to just represent their friendship in general or implying a fake romantic relationship as a genuinely kind-spirited joke. The more you watch BTS, the more clear it is that certain members have a stronger bond than others. For example, you'll hear about Sugar and J-Hope a lot, whose ship name is Soap, but it's much more rare to hear about, say, RM and J-Hope, whose ship name I didn't even know because it's practically never used. This doesn't mean they aren't friends, just that they aren't noticeably close in the same way and don't have a lot of cute, meaningful, or affectionate moments for the fans to latch onto. Some ships are seen as romantic by certain fans, with varying degrees of commitment to this belief. Some people just like posting videos and photos and making jokes, while constantly admitting that they have no proof, and it's also none of their business. Some people take it way too far and get angry and defensive when it's suggested that the ship they believe in isn't real. It's impossible to know for sure, but my personal perception is that the 2 most popular romantic ships are Jikook, Jimin and Jungkook, and Taekook, Taehyung and Jungkook. You can see how that alone can create problems. Some other worthwhile mentions in the acts of ARMY include the time ARMY got the BTS song 2-3 back into the charts 2 years after its release, just because they wanted to send a message to the band that the fans were still behind them during a difficult time. When several American armies organized a path of purple ribbons at the airport to shield the band from unwanted fan and press attention when they arrived.
They tied the purple ribbons like all around the way that we go outside to the car.
What?
When we found out about the $1 million donation the band made to Black Lives Matter and matched it with another $1 million in less than 24 hours. And my personal favorite, when BTS didn't take home any wins at the People's Choice Awards, and as an outlet for our rage, we got the entire BTS discography charting in iTunes. This was, of course, the most anyone has ever cared about the People's Choice Awards. In different corners of the internet, you will find all sorts of original fan content, including compilation videos on YouTube, fan cams and edits on Twitter, merchandise and art on Instagram, and fanfiction on Tumblr and Wattpad. Yes, there is such a thing as BTS fanfiction. Most of it is set in some sort of alternate universe where the band members are college kids, or mob bosses, or mermaids, or something. Think of it less like traditional fanfiction that tells spin-off stories within an existing world, and more like casting the BTS member personas in your own genre fiction. There is also a lot of smut. Lightning round. Every year leading up to their anniversary on June 13th, they release fun new content every day for like 2 weeks, and it's called Festa, and there's usually some bigger thing they've recorded for the day itself as the finale, and that's also called Festa. Fan Cafe is not a real physical location, it's just a website similar to Weverse, and it used to be a primary place for member interaction, though it's not really used anymore, except the Japan Fan Cafe, which is still a thing. ArmyZip is the official fan club. It's a paid membership and you get some additional content there, though like all paid content, most of it will eventually get shared out anyway because ARMY loves giving BTS money, but they also love sharing BTS with everyone regardless of economic circumstance. Hwarang the Poet Warrior Youth was a 2016 K-drama that member V had a small part in, and he really liked doing it, and we like making jokes about the fact that his character got killed off. Golden Closet Films is also known as GCF, and it's the umbrella name for the series of short films that Jungkook shoots, directs, and edits himself. They tend to have a travelogue type vibe, and if you want to develop conspiracy theories about Jungkook being in love with Jimin, just watch GCF Tokyo. BTS World is an app game that takes place in the time right before BTS's debut where you play their manager trying to get the group to launch, and it's basically self-insert fanfiction except it's company produced, and it does give you the thrill of feeding members to make them happy like they're your own tiny Tamagotchis. Everything I've talked about today could honestly be its own 20 or 30 minute video. There is so much to see and know about BTS, especially when you're an international ARMY or I-ARMY, who has a lot to learn about Korean language and culture as well. But on behalf of all ARMY, I'd like to welcome you to the madness. And just remember,
Dad, liking BTS was the best decision ever.